Just 4 years ago, Ohio lawmakers from both sides of the aisle agreed on a plan to fix school funding in the state. Now, lawmakers fear that model is unsustainable, while advocates argue regression could take the place of recent progress if the state reverses course.
Peter Fleischer takes us inside one teacher's experience to find out what kind of impact fair school funding has had and looks toward the future in Ohio public schools.
What helps us with this diagram? There's some little curvy things. What do they help us with?
The reasons Sue Messinger loves teaching her 5th grade Parma City Schools class don't cost a cent.
I enjoy helping people, but more than that, I've always loved learning, and I get excited to learn new stuff. Can you connect those two? I just felt like I wanted to bring that to children. Very nice. See?
But money does matter. As she tells it, Ohio's Cup-Patterson Fair School Funding Program has helped make everyone's life in her classroom a little easier.
When our district is able to provide us with new curricular items that maybe we couldn't have had before, you can concentrate on doing your job. And that's what I want to do.
Voted into law in 2021, Ohio's Fair School Funding Plan is bipartisan legislation that overhauled the state's K-12 funding system.
It was a huge accomplishment.
Former teacher and member of the Heights Coalition for Public Education, Tony Thayer, felt hope for the future. It created an equation that calculated the actual cost of public education. That number varies across every district, but the state agreed to help equal the playing field.
It's not really bridging the gap, because what it is making up the gap that the legislature had already created in the way that they were funding.
It costs $1.8 billion to the taxpayer. We simply don't have it.
The Ohio House recently announced its biennial budget proposal, choosing to completely turn away from the fair school funding model in favor of a lump sum for the state's entire public education system. House Finance Chair Brian Stewart announced $226 million in proposed additional funds across the next 2 years.
I grew up in public schools. My dad was a public school teacher. All 3 of my kids go to public schools. We support public schools. That's why we're increasing funding to every single public school district in the state of Ohio.
They're not being genuine. When they're saying that the amount of money that they are putting forth is much lower than the amount of money than the funding formula would have provided.
But according to fair school funding projections, after inflation, that number should probably be closer to $800 million, creating a $574 million gap that local districts will have to navigate using available budget surplus and taxpayer dollars.
It's demoralizing. And then we have 2 tons.
As Messinger and the rest of the public education system wait to see how the state will support its schools,
I think you can.
their reality at work feels personal.
Number one, the message is we don't support you and we don't support your students. And that's a hard pill for us to swallow all the time.
The World Population Review ranks Ohio 23rd in school funding and 25th in K-12 performance out of all 50 states. That seems to match data from the nation's report card, which rates Ohio students slightly above average in 4th and 8th grade math, reading, writing, and science. But that's with fair school funding.
The concerns is that it's going to get worse before it gets better. We're going to struggle.
The Ohio House declined interview requests for both Speaker Matt Huffman and Brian Stewart as well. During his budget proposal presentation, Stewart insisted the state is exhausting all realistic resources.
I think it's important. We are increasing money to public schools, but we need to do so in a way that taxpayers can afford, in perpetuity.
I feel like we're being taken advantage of. Educators as a whole are people who really push through and do whatever they can to meet a student's need. And that just doesn't seem right.
So what exactly is fair when it comes to school funding?
Have a great day, kids.
In Ohio, the answer may change once again.
The Ohio Senate is drafting its own version of the budget before it gets signed by Governor Mike DeWine, and both the Senate and DeWine can still re-add fair school funding into the state's plans. Education advocates are currently campaigning across the state to try and make that a reality. The deadline for signing and passing that budget is June 30th, so there is a bit of time. Our special coverage, The Price of Education, will continue tomorrow as Danielle Wiggins breaks down the voucher system, a sometimes confusing and yet crucial part of Ohio's education funding model.